Hey Canucks fans, it is Canucks game day. It is the penultimate game of the season. You guys know how much I love that word. The final home game of the season for the Vancouver Canucks. It's fan appreciation night. It's the return of Thatcher Demko, and it's a chance for the Canucks to clinch the Pacific Division. So I'm going to go through all of these things in the next few minutes with you. If you're at the game tonight, come say hi. I'll be there with my daughter Kayla, and in the second intermission, if you're around, just come meet me. Come say hi. I'll be standing outside section 315 in the concourse during the second intermission and in the whole locker room display area. So once again, if you're at the game tonight, come say hi. Second intermission, section 315, outside of section 315. I would love to say a quick hello. Now, Thatcher Demko makes his return. I outlined this yesterday after missing 14 games. Archer Seelov sent back to Abbotsford. No surprise there. So DeSmith will be Demko's backup. We'll see if Demko plays on Thursday if the Canucks clinch the Pacific. I still think he does. I think you want 2 games in before the playoffs start, especially if there's a delay before the playoffs start. Talked about that. It might be all the way until April 23rd, a week from today, before we see the Canucks' first playoff home game. So a lot of things to think about that way. But Thatcher Demko will be in net. DeSmith backs him up. On the back end, you got Hughes, Hronik, Susie Myers, Colin Zadorov. That means, as usual, Juleson and Friedman are the extra defensemen. Up front, the same 12. You have Miller, Besser, Suter, Pettersson, Hoglander, Mikheyev. You have Elias Lindholm between Joshua and Garland, and then Bluger between Podkolzin and Lafferty. That means Phil DiGiuseppe and Neil Zaman will be the extra. So if that's the case, they'll be the exact same 12 forwards that they used against Edmonton. Exact same 6 defensemen. The only change would be DeSmith out and Demko in net. Also, so as always, give me a score prediction. Give me a first Canucks goal scorer. It's the last home game of the year, so I'm going to go 4-2 Vancouver, and I'm going to say that Elias Pettersson scores the first goal of the game for the Vancouver Canucks. Give me your predictions in the comments below. You can also give me your predictions for the year-end awards. They do this on the last home game of the season. It's most exciting player, unsung hero, best defenseman, and MVP. And I'm actually going to say that because of his excellent season, I'm going to say that Quinn Hughes takes 3 of those 4. I think he's going to win MVP. He's obviously going to win best defenseman. And I think this year he's going to edge out Miller, Besser, Pettersson, and Joshua and Garland for most exciting player. So I'm going to give Hughes the nod for 3 awards. Tell me if that's too many, but the fans voted for them, and I think his this year's been so good. He's going to win the Norris Trophy, hopefully. He's a captain for the first season, and he's been just the main difference maker on this team. I think it's going to be him or Demko, but then Demko was injured for the past month and a bit. So I'm going Hughes for team MVP, best defenseman, and most exciting player. And for unsung hero, I was torn between Joshua and Garland, but I think I'm going to go with Dakota Joshua. Connor Garland's been great story, but Joshua makes a lot less. Not that that's the only criteria, and he just seems to be even more unsung than Connor Garland. So those are my picks: Hughes, and Joshua. Give me your predictions in the comments below. Would love to react to those as well. And then I want to just end off talking, because this is going to take a few minutes. Want to end up talking about where the Canucks are in the standings, and this is going to be hard to do in a one-take video with no visual. And I know I talked about this on my stream yesterday with a visual, but it's very busy. I don't think I'm going to park here to record my vlog next time. But anyways, it's a very busy street. So, but I need to find some shade. So without a visual, I'm going to try and explain this. Right now, the Canucks have 107 points in 80 games. Dallas has 111 points in 81 games, and Edmonton has 104 points in 80. Those are the 3 teams I'm going to focus on right now. So I'm going to talk about where the Canucks could finish, and then I'll talk about the related opponents that they can face. So the Canucks can still win the Western Conference. If they beat Calgary and Winnipeg in the final 2 games, the Canucks will go up to 111 points. And if Dallas loses their last game to St. Louis, they'll be at 111 points, but the Canucks will have the first tiebreaker in regulation wins. So yes, the Canucks can still come first place in the Western Conference, secure home ice advantage for all 3 rounds, the first 3 rounds if they're still in it, and that's they tie Dallas in the standings and win by virtue of the tiebreaker. But again, Canucks have to win their final 2, Dallas has to lose their last one, and that's how Vancouver could win the whole Central Division. The whole Western Conference, and then they would play against the second wildcard team. I'm not going to put a name to that team because it's too confusing right now. So if they win the conference, they play the second wildcard team. If the Canucks don't win the conference, though, either Dallas picks up at least 1 point. That's probably the easiest way to do it. The Canucks can still obviously, and they should win the Pacific. They are 3 points up on Edmonton with 2 games remaining for both teams. If Vancouver simply picks up 1 point of any sort in the next 2 games, then Edmonton can only tie Vancouver in the standings, and Vancouver has the tiebreaker. Vancouver has the tiebreaker over everyone except for Winnipeg because of their regulation win. So if Vancouver only gets 1 point in the next 2 games and Edmonton gets 2, wins both their final games, they tie, but Vancouver gets first place in the Pacific by virtue of the tiebreaker. Canucks win a game, one of their final 2, they automatically shut out Edmonton. The only way that Edmonton passes Vancouver for first place in the Pacific is if Edmonton wins their final 2 games and we lose our final 2 games. So no kind of extra points anywhere. It's got to be they win both and then we lose both, and then they finish 1 point ahead of us. So that's the second scenario. The Canucks should win the Pacific, but there is a small chance that Edmonton passes them. So actually, when you look at those 2 scenarios, it's actually more likely, at least only 3 things have to happen for the Canucks to win the whole conference. They win their 2 and Dallas loses their 1. For Edmonton to pass Vancouver for the Pacific, 4 things have to happen. The Canucks have to lose twice, and Edmonton has to win twice. So a lot less likely than the first scenario. So I still think the Canucks will wind up winning the Pacific Division, but not passing Dallas in the Western Conference. If they do that, Vancouver then finishes second of the 2 division winners, and they play Wild Card 1. Now, Wild Card 1, we know is going to be Nashville. We know it's Nashville. They're finished their season. They have 99 points in 82 games. No more games to play. But they're locked into 7th, i.e. the first wild card, because they cannot pass Dallas, Winnipeg, or Colorado, the 3 teams in the Central Division. So they can't leapfrog into the top 3 because their season's done. So they are locked into 7th. They can't fall to 8th, though, because LA, even if LA wins their final game, Nashville has the tiebreaker over LA. So basically, it comes down to Vegas. LA has 97, Vegas has 96. All Vegas has to do is, they got to finish ahead of LA because LA has the tiebreaker on them. So my point is, though, Vegas and LA, neither of them can come in 7th. Neither of them can come in Wild Card 1 because of how the numbers work and how the standings work. One of them is going to become team number 6, 3rd in the Pacific, and play whoever's 2nd in the Pacific. That will likely be Edmonton. And one of them is going to be 8th. 2nd wildcard team, 4th in the Pacific. So this is how the Canucks could still face any of those 3 teams. The likely opponent is Nashville. Canucks win the Pacific, but don't win the Western Conference. They are number 2. They play against number 7, which is Nashville. Been there, done that. Not been there, I guess we have been there, done that way back in 2011. But that's the most likely scenario. And that seems to be the team that Canucks fans want the Canucks to face in the first round. The Canucks can play LA if one of 2 things happen. Vegas loses both of their final games, and Edmonton catches Vancouver, and Vancouver finishes 2nd, and LA finishes in 3rd, and then we play them as a 2-3 matchup in the Pacific. Or the Canucks catch Dallas for number 1, but LA drops to number 8. So that's one way. Those are the 2 ways that we can play LA. There's also 2 ways that we can play Vegas. Exact same thing. We either Edmonton passes us, we come in 2nd, and Vegas passes LA, so that becomes the 2-3 matchup. Or if we win the whole entire conference by beating out Dallas, and Vegas stays in the final wildcard spot in number 8. So again, most likely play Nashville, but there are still 2 ways we can play Vegas, and there's still 2 ways that we can play LA. Even though there's 2 ways that we can play each of those teams, it's less likely than us finishing 1st in the Pacific, but 2nd overall, and playing Nashville in the first round. So I know that took me 6 minutes to explain, but I try to do it as clear as I can. Let's put it this way. If the Canucks win tonight, they clinch the Pacific, but they still have a chance to catch Dallas. If the Canucks lose tonight, then it gets a little bit more squirrely because Edmonton will have a bit of a better chance of catching the Canucks. However, if the Canucks lose in extra time, either overtime or shootout, then we still clinch the Pacific. So let's see what happens tonight. Let's see if I can meet you during the second intermission, and let's see if you can leave your score prediction and first Canucks goal scorer and any other Canucks Award predictions, Canucks Award winner predictions you want to put in the chat as well. Okay, have I confused you already? I know that's really tough without visuals, excuse me, but hopefully that made a semblance of sense. Really, a lot of people just say, let's not worry about it, let's just see what happens, let's see where teams finish, and then we kind of go analyze and go from there. So I have time for that argument as well. But for now, Canucks, Calgary, final home game of the season. And I can't wait to be there with my daughter, Kayla. Shout out to my sponsors, Van City Experts Real Estate, Perform and Transform, Personal Training, Weight Loss. Thank you, legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Carol Bovelander, legendary Andrew Chang, and to Hall of Fame franchise members as well. And thanks to all of you for all of your support. Don't forget, as well, forgot to mention, but it goes without saying, 11 p.m., once I get home from the game, I'll be doing a post-game live stream tonight right here on this channel. So on your way out, subscribe, like the video, leave a donation, become a member, upgrade your membership. Give me your Canucks score prediction. Give me your first Canucks goal scorer. And if you want to predict the Canucks Award winners as well, feel free to do that in the comments down below. And if you're at the game, come see me, second intermission outside of section 315. Thanks for watching. Thanks for bearing with me. Stay safe, stay healthy. Take care of yourselves and take care of each other. God bless, and go Canucks go.